And my biggest recommendation would be to not ever unthread them. How do you do that? You're going to get the machine and it's going to look like this, right? And so you're going to have this loose thread. Hopefully the person before you was kind enough to sort of leave you a big generous tail. You're going to want to
make sure that you cut here and not along the way.
Right. Okay. And so that will just sort of help guide you along. I'm not going to thread this quite yet. I'm going to show you how to wind a bobbin first. But the one thing you're going to want to do is just basically, twist tie these together and then, very gently feed it through. And you will go through all the guides correctly, around the gauge, through this pin, up and down. If you take a picture of it, this is how it's supposed to look. And you post those pictures up. Each sewing machine has a different way of threading. I did email Myangi the manuals for each of these machines.
I will email them.
And she can email them to you, and that will show you how to put the bobbin in, how to thread the machine correctly, and any kind of problems that each machine would have. I believe the machine on the end does zigzag stitch. I'll have to look at it at the end to see if that's true and how to use that, but that can also help. This machine will not. This machine just goes forward and it goes backwards. That's it. So, first thing you need to also know is that your bobbin, there's a bobbin and there's a bobbin case. And they're two separate items, and you need both of them to actually make the machine work. To thread your bobbin, because this will be empty or it'll have something else on it, you need to take the bobbin, you want to put it in on this little post here. If it's not on completely, of course I say that, and it's just doing it just fine. It wasn't doing it before. It's not on completely. Now, why are you doing that? All right, it's not on completely. It was not catching. There it goes. See how it doesn't stay? It's because it's not on. You want to hear that click. You want to get it all the way on, and then you can lock it down. But we're not doing that quite yet. You're going to take your thread, put it here, wind it up and over. You want to take it, put it through this eye here, the eye there. You want to wind it around this gauge. I'll sit down. There, until it's pretty tight. You want to pull it. Then you want to have it go over the bobbin. It's not going under, don't go underneath, but go over. You want to pull out enough thread when the bobbin...
This is if the bobbin didn't have thread on it.
Right, or if you wanted to change the color, because the color isn't what you're using.
But normally you wouldn't just put it on top of that.
You can.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I do it all the time.
Oh.
It just becomes a pain in the neck if you want to use the color that's underneath.
Oh, okay.
So you can take it and wind it around and around. If it just spins and doesn't actually catch, it's because the thread is not catching onto the metal, and it just means you need to wind more thread around it.
Did you say that you're going from the bottom up and over?
You're going to go from the top, you're going to go over the top and wrap it around. You want to push this lever to engage the bobbin winding mechanism. The next thing I'm going to do, because in a home sewing machine, when you engage this would disengage. But in an industrial machine, it does not. So I'm going to do something that will scare me to death. I will unwind this section only of the threading, leaving the bobbin tension at the wheel gauge already threaded. And then as the needle goes up and down and the arm goes up and down, this way you don't engage this thread at all, and it just sort of stays where it is. So it's going to just hang there and not do anything. On and off button, obviously, you hear the buzz. What you want to do is get onto the foot.
Oh.
It's okay. See, but it's not going anywhere. Oh, this didn't go. It broke. That's okay. Wind it around.
Why did it break?
Why did it break? Because I went too fast. I was showing off. All right. I'm also just tired. Pull that off. So you have wound now a considerable amount of thread onto your bobbin. I'm just neatening up since it broke. You want to have about maybe 4 or 5 inches of thread coming off of the bobbin. This bobbin case has its own tension that also helps control the tension of the threads. You're never going to have to change and then there's also another sort of gauge underneath. Almost never you will ever have to change the bobbin tension, but just so you know that that's also very, very important, just how to have this correctly threaded through. So you don't want the thread to be coming this way off the spool, you want it to be coming over.
You want it going away from you.
Right. And then you want to line it up with this notch. There's a notch right there. So you're going to slip the thread in, you're going to pop the thread down, and you're going to pull it until it gets into this little hole right there. And that will keep the tension on this bobbin thread nice and where it should be. And now your bobbin and bobbin case are done. Put that aside for a second.